Hi, in this video we're going to show you a free tool you could use to rip music CDs to files such as MP3s and WAV files. So there are not a lot of options these days when it comes to CD ripping apps, since most people don't have CDs any longer. And you probably know you could still do this with Windows Media Player, except it doesn't download any metadata information on the new one. And of course, you could still use the legacy Windows Media Player in Windows 11. So we did a video on that, so I'll stick that in the description if you want to check it out. So the program we're going to be talking about today is called CDex. So it's an older program, and you could tell by the interface when we look at it here, but it does do the job, and it does have some nice options. And depending on your CD, it should be able to pull in some information about it, such as the artist, track name and that type of thing. So that's going to vary depending on the CD and how old it is and so on. All right, so let's open it up here. So it's got to read the CD here, so it'll take a minute to load. Okay, so it already pulled in some information here. So it has the artist and the song title here, except for this first one here, couldn't get for some reason. So got the artist right, the album name is wrong, so this is actually the name of the song that I didn't find, so I don't know if that's a glitch in the program or not, but you could change this here. You can even put in the year if you want. So it's 2023, I believe. Change the genre if you want. Let's just call it this for now. All right, so let's go over the interface real quick and then we'll try it out. All right, so over here, if you hover over to tell you what it'll do, extract the CD tracks to WAV files, compressed audio files, which are MP3s, extract a section of the CD to a WAV or compressed file, convert WAV files, convert compressed audio files to WAV files, so you could do other stuff with this as well. Get album information, which we already have, and then the options, we'll check those out in a second. All right, so up top here we have system info. Nothing too exciting there. Compare a couple files, select all, rename the tracks if it does something wrong. Here are our convert options, which match what we have over here on the right, except for a couple options down here at the bottom. Media file player if you want to play your files, generate a cue sheet if you want to do one of those. All right, so here's where you could pull the information. So read from local FreeDB or remote. So obviously local is not going to be valid unless you actually have something kind of database on your computer that has this information. So if we click on this, you can see that this FreeDB is no longer in use. So we could use the option to read from Music Brains. And you can see it might give you this information here that's not accurate. And then if your CD has built-in CD text, it can pull it from that as well, which should be pretty accurate, obviously. So that's going to depend on the CD. All right, then we have settings here. All right, let's go to generic here. The temp directory, if you want to normalize the volume, you could do that. Here's the file name format. If you hover over it, it tells you what's what. So if you want to edit this, you'll have to do it manually. It doesn't give you like a drop down like some of the others do to pick a different format. And then it shows you an example here. And then we have our folders for conversions and recorded tracks. And if we're making playlists, we could change the format there as well. CD drive settings, if you want to change anything there. Encoders, so for MP3s, you need an MP3 encoder. Usually lame MP3 encoder is the one to use here, but you have some other options here. And normally these tools will rip them to WAV files and then convert them to MP3 files, but if you want to keep the WAV files as well, you can check this box. Then if you want to change the bit rate to bump up the quality, you could do that as well for minimum and maximum. All right, then we have tags here. So this is the best one to use for getting tags for compatibility purposes. And I believe this section here is used if you have a picture of the album cover, you could have it embedded into your files there. And then here are the settings for the database for getting the information if you had a local database or a remote one. You could try some of these other ones to see if you get better results. All right, so let's go ahead and give it a shot here. So we're going to try this option here. All right, so this will obviously take a few minutes, so I will pause the video and be back when it's done. All right, so the process is complete. So let's check out the results here. So we have our artist name here, album name, and you can see it changed the album name based what I corrected in the application. So we have number, and then we have artist name and song name, and you can see it still messed up that first one, so you'd have to fix that manually in this case. And it has contributing artists. So for some reason, these apps always use contributing artist instead of artist for some reason. And then we have the album name. All right, so as you can see, it did a pretty good job, and it's easy to use, and it's free. So if you're looking to rip a bunch of CDs, this might be something you might want to check out. All right, so I will put a link in the description where you could download CDex, and you could try it out for yourself. All right, thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe.